Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kara. If you are new here, thanks so much for stopping by. If you are a returning subscriber, you already know I love you and I appreciate you for being a part of my tribe. All right, y'all, so in today's video, I wanted to have a little bit of a real conversation about something that I've been struggling with personally, and that is being still. So I am naturally a busybody. I feel like it's because of how I grew up. My parents always had me and my sisters signed up for something. All of our free time wasn't really free time because we were booked and busy, and I think that is something that I have carried on into my adult life, and it's a really unhealthy relationship with feeling like if I'm not doing something, I'm not being productive. Like, me just laying on the couch is not okay. Literally, it's a running joke because, you know, my dad will call and he'll be like, what are you doing? And I could say whatever, leaving the gym, finishing up a work call, blah, blah, blah. And he'll be like, nothing, as usual. And it's just like, sir, like, I just told you what I was doing. But anyway, so I think that is where my type A, always on personality has really stemmed from. And it's something as of late that I have been getting a lot of signs. I've been talking about it in therapy, and God has really just been speaking to me about slowing down, being still, and really creating space for Him. A Bible verse that comes to mind that I've really been reflecting on is Psalms 41 verse 10, which says, "Be still and know that I am God." And in some translations, you may also see it as cease striving. And so in that light of cease striving, what does that mean? It means stop striving, stop fighting, stop trying to make things work on your own. And I don't know who I'm talking to. I'm literally, as I'm making this video, these are things that I'm actively working on. So I don't want y'all to feel like just because I'm making a video on this that I am perfect and I've got it all together, because like I said, I'm literally figuring it out. It's something that has been on my heart lately in terms of what does being still look like for me in this season. And it also has me reflecting on the word of the year for Transformation Church. I am attending online, and the word of the year is "Here is holy." And so as I'm thinking about my next steps and what I want to do and where I want to move and, you know, what job I want next and all of these, how I want my life to look, I'm reminding myself that one, here is holy, and two, God has it all worked out. I really don't have to be anxious about it or worry about it or try to control it so much. And I think that is really what I'm working on and what God is trying to get me to see. It's like, girl, like, I've already gone before you. I've fought those battles. I have showed up for you. I am dropping your names in rooms that aren't even on your radar yet. I need you to create space for me to do that. At the end of the day, all God is trying to say to me is, Kara, let me be God. I don't need your help. I've got it. Be patient, be still, and let me go to work. So with that, here are 3 things that I am starting to incorporate more into my life. They all kind of have a place in my life in different capacities, but being more consistent with these practices so that I can create space for God. Okay, so let's talk about experiencing God in stillness. First of all, what is stillness? Stillness is to stop, cease, desist, to not move, to rest, to stay fixated, to wait, to be at peace. So this is one that is a priority for me in terms of being still and not feeling like because I'm not making the moves that I want when I want, because I'm not moving or accomplishing goals at the rate of which I maybe thought or planned, that I feel like I have to work overtime, or I feel like I need to change the plan, or I need to do something different. Literally, my sister had came home from work the other day, and she was telling me that in a conversation with her coworker, she was describing me and kind of talking about me, and her coworker stops her and is like, "Is your sister a type A personality?" Which until recently, I had never really saw myself as a type A personality, but I definitely can be. And you do want to be careful about like what labels you are putting on yourself, because words have power, and I don't want to, go raving from the rooftop like I'm a type A personality, party. But it is good to know, just from like a self-awareness standpoint, that these are some of the behaviors that typically display themselves. Why do they typically display themselves? And then how can I work through that and overcome it? So I really want to be more intentional about my time and how I'm spending my time. I think a lot of the times for me, when I'm not being still, it's because I feel like I'm behind on something, or I should be working on something. Obviously, when you're busy and you're always doing something and you're not really being intentional about your rest time, that can lead to burnout. And so one thing that I'm really trying to be better about is proactively scheduling my rest times, not only during the day, like being more mindful about taking breaks during the day, but also over the course of the week, over the course of the month. What do those rest days look like, so that I can have time to, like I said, be still and not feel like I need to be working on something all the time. I also just want to caveat by saying, a lot of the times when you hear the word rest, you equate or relate that word with taking a nap or going to sleep, and that is not always what rest is. It definitely can be, but that's not the only thing that rest is. Rest is also, it doesn't mean that you do nothing. There are tons of different ways that you can rest based on what your body needs, what you enjoy, how much time you have, etc. And I actually wrote a blog post about this, so I'm going to link it down below, and I definitely recommend that you check it out if you are looking for some creative alternative ways to resting other than either doing nothing or going to sleep. Now let's talk about experiencing God in solitude. So first of all, as always, let's start with the definition of what solitude is. Solitude is to be alone, to turn away from human interaction and external stimuli. And that last part of the definition is really what I want to focus on, because I think a lot of the times when you hear solitude, you automatically kind of transport yourself to like some remote cabin up in the mountains where you're not surrounded by anybody. And while that is solitude, the reality is a lot of us do not live lives where we're able to practice that level of solitude on a consistent basis. And so it's really important that you figure out how you can schedule times of solitude into your daily life. I also wanted to point out that last half of the definition of turning away from distractions and external stimuli and people, because again, being alone is one way to practice solitude, but it is not the only way. Practicing solitude is more about your state of being than it is your physical state. So really freeing yourself from distractions, from technology, again, from other people, and just everything else in this world. It's full of distractions, and solitude is kind of turning away from all of those different things. So for me, because I live with my sister, I'm typically usually never alone, but there are ways that I try to incorporate solitude into my daily routine, one of which I am really excited about practicing more here, especially as we are heading into warmer months. Chicago is experiencing like some really nice weather this week. We're out of the cold. I'm crossing my fingers that we're out of like the cold weather, the second winter, and we're heading officially into summertime shy. But going on long walks is a great way to practice solitude. Solitude is important because it really gives us the opportunity to kind of think and work through any challenges that we may be facing, whether personal or professional. It gives you an opportunity to reflect on any goals that you might have, to think about what you're grateful for, to ultimately and most importantly, spend time with God. My daily walks are a really great way to practice solitude, and here is a prayer that you can say before you head out on your walk to really set the intention. God, I'm giving this time to you. Give me ears to hear what you're saying to me. So silence and solitude are close partners, and while you don't have to be silent while you're practicing solitude, a lot of the times these two come together as pairs. So this segues into the last way that you can experience God, and that is through silence. Okay, so let's talk about experiencing God in silence. First of all, let's start with the definition. Pretty self-explanatory, but I'm gonna read it anyway. Silence is to abstain from speaking, to listen, and to be quiet. God definitely does speak through a myriad of ways, through scriptures, through people, through things, but God also speaks to us through silence. And silence is a practice of stillness, and it really requires you to be intently listening for that quiet, gentle voice of God. God really desires for silence to be a context for communication, and so it's really important that we get comfortable with sitting in it. So as a part of my morning routine, which if you have not seen that video, I will link it in the cards. It's been a couple of months since I've done that, but my morning routine still looks something like that. But instead of listening to like an audiobook or a podcast, lately I've been riding to the gym in silence. It's something that I consistently do every day. It's a time in my schedule that I know is going to happen, and I know that, okay, during this 15-minute car ride to the gym, I can ride in silence to really give God the opportunity to speak with me and to share with me what it is that He has for me for that particular day. It gives me an opportunity to intentionally quiet my mind, set aside my agenda, and really name my intention of, all right, God, I'm listening, I'm all ears, what do you have for me? I definitely recommend silent car rides because, again, it's something that a lot of us do on a daily basis in terms of commuting. So being more intentional about those commute times and using those times as, okay, I'm gonna be silent during this commute is a great way to be more intentional about this practice. But also, another way that you can start practicing solitude is after you do your daily devotional, or you write in your gratitude journal, or even after you read a book, take 5 minutes and just be silent and pray this prayer. God, I'm here to be in your presence. Speak to me what you want. I am listening. Again, this really just allows you to name the intention that you have, which is allowing God's presence to kind of be ushered in and giving Him the opportunity to speak to you, and you don't say anything back. And this is so hard, you guys. Like, being silent and coming to God with nothing and saying, God, like, I'm all ears, is hard. I know for me, like, I always come to God with a whole list. I talk God's ear off. I'm like, God, this, and this, and this, and what about this, and this? And a lot of the times I feel like God's like, but, and I'm still going, I'm running, and He's like, but Kara, and I'm still talking. And so, like, giving Him an opportunity to respond to what I'm asking is why silence is so important, because a lot of the times, like, God is speaking, but you're just so busy and you're so distracted doing everything else that you're doing that you're not really hearing Him, because His voice is so gentle. And I think sometimes we're expecting like this super masculine, voice that's gonna like interrupt you and stop you in your tracks. And while that can happen, I found that it's very like quiet quiet whisper, and it's really easy to miss. So silence. Practicing silence is super important, and it's something that I'm going to challenge you to do at least once a week. Honestly, once a day, but I'm gonna just say once a week, and work your way up to practicing all of these things daily. And with that, I'm going to end the video here. Very sweet, short, well, hopefully it's short. I guess editing me, we'll see. But I really just wanted to kind of share something that's been on my heart, something that I've really been working through and struggling with. And these are things that I'm going to be doing, practical things that I'm going to be doing that you can adopt as well in your life so that you can get better in these 3 disciplines. And I'm really excited to kind of see where God leads me over this next season of being more intentional with being silent, with being still, with practicing solitude. Okay, now it is your turn. Let me know in the comments below which of these 3 disciplines is going to be your priority. For me, being still is going to be my #1 priority. However, all of these disciplines I'm going to be more intentional and mindful about incorporating into my daily life, but stillness is like my top priority. So now that you know stillness, solitude, silence, which one do you feel like God is calling you to be more disciplined about in this season? Let me know in the comments below, and also let me know how you plan to go about practicing this discipline. All right, you guys, so now that I have talked a little bit more about how you can experience God through silence, stillness, and solitude, I really just want to encourage you to stop trying to control everything, to be still and to let God do his thing. Stop stressing about the battle ahead and trust that God has already gone before you and taken care of it. The Lord is your refuge. He is your strength. He will fight your battles. He will deal with your enemy. I feel like God has really been trying to get my attention and remind me to step back, open my eyes, and realize who he is and what he can do. If you believe that like I believe that, then you will trust that God has got it, and you will create space for him. Again, like, it is so easy to get lost in the sauce and to prioritize everything and anything over God, but nothing is more important than spending time with him and being in his presence. It doesn't have to be, 30 minutes, an hour every single day. If all you have is 5 minutes when you wake up in the morning and 5 minutes before you close your eyes at night, that's all that God needs. And so again, just want to encourage you all to be still, create space for God, and stop trying to do his job. I hope that you found this video helpful. If you did, be sure to leave me a thumbs up. Make sure that you are subscribed to my channel so that you never miss an upload. Hit the bell so that you're notified when my next video goes live, and I will see you all in the next video.